Hello, 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 everyone. This is your friend Unapologetically Angela, and I am reaching out to you from Maadi, Egypt. It's been a minute since I've had an opportunity to talk to you, so I thought I would just check in and share some things that's been going on with me since the last time we talked. School has not begun still. School is scheduled to begin September 18th. The Minister of Education decided that he wanted to extend the break so that all schools here would start at the same time. So that caused us to have, we had a week off completely of no training, and then we've gone in and it's more extensive training, actually getting our classrooms situated. It's kind of antsy for us as teachers because we are eager to get to know our children and see what our flow is going to be like, because even with all the preparing, you really don't know what's going to happen until you actually have to deal with the kids. So we are doing our best to prepare our spaces and prepare our minds for what's coming up next. So just some few things that have just been really, really interesting to me and has become my reality. The number one thing that has been hilarious to me is that here in Egypt, if you are going to a gas station, if you're going to any type of public facility, toilet paper is not just a given. You know, I've gone several places. I took a bus trip on our break to Dahab, and any place that you stopped in to use the restroom, first of all, the restroom was 5 EGP. So you couldn't just go to the restroom because you needed to go. You did have to pay the matron or the mater who was there accepting the money. And when you give him the 5 EGP or her the 5 EGP, you then get about 5 sheets of toilet paper. That's pretty much it. Something else, and those of you that know me, I am a paper towel person. It's something about having the comfort of a paper towel in my hand, and it's just, I don't know where it came from. It may have come from my mother, who knows, but paper towels are not a regular thing here that they use. If you go to a restaurant, they may bring you one, or they'll bring you something similar, but it's more of a Kleenex. It's not like an absorbent paper towel that we are used to in the States. So I did my hunt, and I was able to find like the business strength paper towel rolls, the ones that like in the school system where the roll is about this big, so I bought a couple of those just so that I would have them in the home and clean up messes and take them to the school. So that's been very interesting. And back to the toilet paper is not allowed to be flushed down the toilet at all. So everywhere you go, from upscale hotels to restaurants and things of that nature, there's a garbage can on the side for you to do your waste, because the septic system here is just not equipped to be able to get rid of all of the tissue and the waste and things of that nature. So that's one of the first things that they say to you about not flushing down the toilet. And the next thing that they say to you is about energy conservation. Here in Egypt, it is a big thing that when you leave the house, that you turn your air off, that you unplug things that you're not using, make sure you don't leave any lights on. They even suggest that you turn your gas off, unplug your washing machine, because of the energy regulation that they do here. And when people are leaving their things plugged up and leaving the air on, like, again, things that we're used to, this is when we're having the power outages that can last from 45 minutes to 4 hours. So my landlord came in to fix some things for me yesterday, and was just like, hey, it's best that we don't leave things plugged up, even if it's not like my computer cord or my phone charger. All of that needs to be unplugged when I leave the house. The only thing that there was no issue about being plugged up was the security camera and the connection to the Wi-Fi. But anything else, they suggest that we unplug and then plug it up when we get to the house. Okay, that's easy enough. There is also a very interesting way of life here. Young people are, they beg. And I don't want to use that word, but that's really what they do. Especially when I went to Dahab, there were young women who had made bracelets. According to them, they said they made the bracelets. But they would come up to you and ask you to purchase the bracelet. And if you said no, they stood there and looked you point blank and said, think again. Look at what I got. I need money. And so there were a lot of people that I noticed that offered them food. If they were hungry, they took the food. If they were not hungry, they were like, no, we want money. There were some instances where they were also willing to barter. They were willing to barter if you had something that they wanted, like a sweet cookie or another piece of jewelry. So because in Dahab I was able to go swimming in the Red Sea, and I'm not the greatest swimmer, but there was no way that I was going to go to the Red Sea and not immerse myself in the water. I bought a floaty, and so I was able to barter with one of the young ladies to get a bracelet for my floaty when I was getting ready to leave. And she was excited. All of them were excited. They jumped in the water with their clothes on, but that's their way of life. And so talking to the gentleman who owned the particular restaurant that we were in, because in Dahab, the way that it's set up, there's a strip of restaurants along the Red Sea, and you can sit, chill, read, have a cocktail, eat, whatever, and then jump in the water and come back to your table. So in talking to him, pretty much he said that's how we all started out. We all started out begging and walking around and doing our hustle and things of that nature. And then as we grew older, we saved our money so that we could buy these restaurants along the strip, or so we can buy these clothing stores or scuba diving situations. And I was like, wow. So if there's a certain age limit that you go up to, or a certain amount of money that you are seeking, or your family has set as your quota, your job, your hustle is to get this a particular money before you come home, and then it's stacked up. And then this particular gentleman not only owned one of the largest bar restaurants on the strip, he also owned the scuba diving equipment place from the back. So I felt like, okay, he doesn't have a reason to lie to me. So I was like, that was a very, very interesting story. But he also let us know that some of the people outside of Dahab that beg, that it is a scam, and that people are watching to see what you're going to pull out and how much money you're going to have and what you're going to give to set you up for some criminal activity. So they advise you not to make a habit of just giving to random beggars, and making sure when you're out and about, you go ahead and have your money in your hand. When you're in the Uber, because here Ubers you can pay with cash, you go ahead and have your money in your hand so you're not caught rambling and fumbling through your things to try to get out money. They are very good at negotiating prices. A lot of things here, especially things on the street and in smaller markets, there are no price tags. So that entails now I have to negotiate with you how much for these 7 apples, or how much for this particular shirt. And they have a tendency to believe that us Americans have so much money because we're coming from America, because they believe we may have access to the USD, they can negotiate back and forth and give us the higher price, and then we have to work our way down to a price that we're willing to pay. That's exhausting for me. It's extremely exhausting for me. I have gone to 2 places where there was something that I really, really wanted, and after the second price he gave me, I just was not willing. I just walked out the store. I don't have it. Maybe it's not in me to be a salesperson. Maybe that's why I didn't go to sales. I work with children. I teach adults. I handle, relationship mediation, but negotiating back and forth about a piece of fabric just became so exhausting. And again, like even on the street, you negotiating how much for these limes. They don't have a scale or anything. They're just going to negotiate back and forth to see. And what tends to happen when you tend to walk away and just give up on the second price, then they ask you, what are you willing to pay? And if it's some instances, they were like, okay, fine, we'll do it. In some instances, they're like, no, this is good product. This is good product. So those things are very interesting. Not really what I'm used to. Of course, I'm used to going in. There's a price tag. Oh, that's too high. I'm good. Or perfect price. Put it in a basket. Something else that's very common here is a lot of coffee, a lot of tea, and a lot of cigarettes. People drink tea and coffee all day long. Now, again, I know we do that in the States as well, but it is constant. There at the school, tea is circulated throughout the school on a regular basis. Administration has a gentleman who walks around and brings them their coffee and their tea throughout the day, all day long. The night crowd, which gets extremely busy. I thought the daytime was busy, but in the evenings when the sun goes down and it's cooler, it is a madhouse. People are out crossing streets, shopping, music, cooking, selling, hustling, dancing, back and forth. But every other person has either Turkish coffee, regular coffee, tea, and cigarettes. It doesn't matter whether there's children around. It doesn't matter if you're elder. Now, in the Ubers, what I've noticed is they will ask you one or two things. Is it okay if I smoke, or would you like a cigarette? At that point, you know that they want to smoke a cigarette. And if you're here at night, You want them to have their coffee and you want them to have their cigarette because the traffic is very hectic and a lot of them have been driving since the morning. So again, those another one of those instances where this is what they do for their lives. So they've been driving since we got up at 6 to get to school by 7:30, and it is now 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and they've still been on the road. So they're constantly drinking caffeine and pumping themselves with nicotine and things to keep them woke. Being a black woman over here in Egypt has been an interesting experience. It's very, when my head is covered, people speak to me all the time, but today was very interesting. I found my favorite grocery store. I love grocery shopping, so it's very nice to have a grocery store that is in walking distance of me. And I've been in that grocery store, I know now, maybe 8 or 9 times, and people don't really speak. People of color, they are either looked through, and it's not necessarily rude, they just don't say anything to you. Or especially me being a bald-headed woman, I can tell when people are discussing and trying to figure out, okay, what is this? Who is this? What is she? Is she African? Is she a man? Is she this? Is she that? I've gotten a lot of that because, again, because they don't have what typical people would say, couth or those type of manners. When they're talking about you, they're making eye contact with you. You may not understand what they're saying, but that's just like how we are so judgmental in the nail shop, ladies, when people are speaking another language and you want them to you want to understand what they're saying, or, oh, I know they're not talking about me. Here, when they're talking and this directed toward a particular thing, they're looking me in my face, having a full conversation with this look of, it's crazy, on their face. So today I went in the grocery store and everybody in the grocery store, all the cashiers are men. It's only one woman there and she can only check out families of people anyway. But everybody, hey, how you doing today? Oh, good to see you again. So again, bringing into recollection that you've seen me before, you know that this is my home grocery store, but for some reason, me and my bald head over across the water causes an issue, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm very used to being different in the atmosphere that I'm typically in. I think when I first got here, it was really, really intense. People in Memphis had really gotten used to me wearing the shaved head and things of that nature. And speaking of that, so I don't know if you saw my Facebook post, but I had an Egyptian barber, a young gentleman, I love him dearly. He was at Tommy's and he was very nervous about cutting my hair. So he was being gentle and, left more hair on my head than I'm really used to. So I was like, okay, I supported them. They're close to the house and everything, but this is not going to work for me. I don't like to go to the barbershop every week. And I'm a stickler about how I want my head to look. That's just for me. And so one of my co-workers, black woman, she has a son that's here and her daughter, she came up to me and she was like, Angela, I found a Nigerian barber. And so I was like, really? So she went, she tested him out with her son and she was impressed. I saw her son's head and he had a beautiful crisp line, a beautiful faded well. She said, but here's the thing, where he is truly, truly an Egyptian neighborhood. So I didn't understand what that meant. And she went on to explain about how it was set up and, the things that I would expect to see. And she was so right. There's an area that's called the Union Tower, and it's just an alleyway. And in the alleyway on one side, you have the roosters that are caged and prepared for people to come and just choose their rooster, snatch it and take it with you. On this side, you may have any of the beef products, fabric, rugs, incense, but the road is so tiny. So Ubers are coming through here. Little cabs that's like bikes are coming through here. People are walking. The dogs, the cats, they're everywhere. So once you finally make it to the area of the Union Tower, your signal goes out on your phone. So you have no contact with the outside world until you leave out of this alleyway. The buildings, the apartment buildings are just stacked 8, maybe 10 feet tall. And so I have to go down this street. The Uber will drop me off so far, but then there's a certain point where the Uber driver always says, okay, this is where I stop. So you go down this alley, and it is a small Nigerian shop. Only one barber. He has all of his Nigerian fabric. A wonderful, very, very nice man. They call him D Royal. He's an elder, very sweet, very attentive. You know, there's a young brother that cuts the hair, but Mr. Royal makes sure that the women that come in there are walked back to the place where there's a signal. He always brings them something to drink, and he makes sure that you have made it home safely after your cut and everything. So I am so grateful for that, because that was going to be one of my issues. I understand me being here is going to take me through a spiritual experience, and I get it. But one thing I was not going to be able to handle is not being able to get my hair cut the way that I wanted. So again, like I told you, I went to the grocery store and everybody was speaking to me. Hey girl, da 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 da. So, but this is what I've been so excited and waiting. I've been waiting so long since I got here to get here, you know, and this is how I wear my hair in the States. So I am just so excited to be free and be comfortable and be able to face the world like I normally do. You know, that's going to be one of my things as well. I have not seen another woman with a bald head. You know, the majority of the women here are covered. But the American women or women from anywhere else, I have not seen another woman who wears her hair like mine. So I'm very interested to see and feel the response of my students. Children are so amazing. I've seen kids in the grocery store and they just wave and speak. Children were following me in Daha with no issue, no this, that, and the other. But it's going to be very interesting to, you know, just engage my parents and, you know, get the vibe and to know I've had to do this in the States before, just to let them know that I'm human. You know, I'm a very feminine woman. I'm just not your typical, you know. So I'm really excited and up for the challenge. This week marked my 30 days here in Egypt. I made it to 30 days, so I'm really excited about it. I'm going to be very honest. It was very difficult. This was the longest 30 days of my life because I was uprooted and taken away from everything and everyone physically that was truly important to me and my support system. So when I was going off thinking, you know, oh, everybody's leaning and depending on me, it helped me to realize how much I leaned and depended on them and how much I loved them leaning and depending on me. So I'm grateful to just have this time to actually figure out who I am, what my purpose is, what the universe wants from me, and what Egypt has to offer me. So I thank those of you who tune in and watch with me on a regular basis. I think I've said this before. This is my virtual diary to help me keep up with what's going on and document some of the emotional things and some of the things that just really stuck to my brain. I do the majority of my picture posting on my Facebook page, Angela Sargent. You can look for that page. Send me a friend request and you can see a lot of the pictures. I'm also doing a quarterly article with the Tri-State Defender, just giving the more academic side of what I'm doing here and teaching. So I'm really, really excited about this journey now that I've got over the 30-day hump. Let's see what the next 30 days has. Again, if you have any questions, anything in particular that you want to know about, drop me a line. If you end up liking my Facebook page, send me a message and I will make sure that in my next post that I try my best to answer your question. Thank you so much for your love and support. I would love for you to send me words of kindness, words of encouragement, words to help me keep my chin up and keep my momentum going. Because, you know, in the real talk, I'm out here by myself. I got my first hug in 30 days and it was from my yoga instructor who came here to celebrate her birthday. So I was actually able to have a hug from a kindred spirit. So being out here in a place where you have to learn how to find people or attract people to you that you can trust and actually share that physical space with, it's been a task. So thank you so much for your love. I feel it, I receive it, and I hope to talk to you real soon. Peace, love, and liberation.